Retirement. That's what we're all aiming at, right? But exactly what does that mean? It conjures up visions of endless days of golf, drinks with little umbrellas in them on a tropical beach, feet up, reading a book. Is that what it's all about? I don't think so. Life would get pretty dull after a while without anything meaningful to do, don't you think? I'm Jackie Doucette, and I'm on a mission to discover exactly what life is like beyond retirement. Join me while I chat with people who've already done it, who've retired to something rather than from something. Let's find out together exactly what's waiting for us when we say goodbye to that 9 to 5. Hi everyone, welcome to another episode of Beyond Retirement. Today I'm really pleased to be joined by Paul Nadeau. And J. Paul Nadeau is a former hostage negotiator. He's an international peacekeeper and a major crimes detective who's turned his focus to helping others negotiate better outcomes in life. He now shares practical tools for everyday resilience, personal transformation, and growth. He's the author of Take Control of Your Life and The Hostage Effect. He's a sought-after keynote speaker, and he's a podcast host. Paul, welcome to the show today.
Thank you, Jackie. And what a tremendous entry that was. Like, wow, that's good. Thank you very much for that.
It's amazing what a little bit of searching online can do.
Well, I tell you, it's very easy now, and I've been using AI to search for people and find out as much, and it does a better job than Google. So yes.
Yep, it's doing I think the AI is kind of taking over life. It wants to change everything that I do. So I think I'd like to really get started with a little bit about your background. Your career in law enforcement and hostage negotiations must have been extraordinary, but how did that lead you into the world of personal development?
Well, I think it all stems back to my father's abuse of me and my siblings. We were terribly abused by an unstable father who was an alcoholic and struggled with his own demons. And consequently, they say that things don't always happen to you, they often happen for you. And that did, because over the years, I developed a real passion for helping others. And through my father's abuse, I was forced to develop early. I had to find a job at the age of 13 and 14 to pay room and board. So that led me to start to negotiate with adults. I really developed an ability to communicate well and to listen well. And my father took his own life when I was 17, and I joined a distress center as a suicide prevention. I guess I was someone on the suicide prevention panel, and I would take calls from distressed people. I was trained for several months in doing this, and just listening to people's problems, it led to this compassion. And I joined the police at the age of 21. And again, I met so many people who were hurting, and I just wanted to help. I wanted to provide them something that I hadn't received when I was young, or I certainly understood what people were going through, and I could relate to them. So this led to so many different opportunities on the police department, and I just became a student of life and understanding the struggles that people encounter, including myself. I mean, I encounter them too, but I've developed a way that I could really change the way that I was feeling. I could change my emotions, and I wanted to help people to do that as well. So it's all been as a result of many different experiences, including the abuse that I suffered at the hands of my father.
Wow. I'm really sorry to hear how it all got started. That must have been
It must have been a horrible experience. I don't have the words to say what I want to say. They're always kind of lacking, saying, "Oh, that's bad," or "I'm sorry." But you've turned it around. Instead of going into the world mad or angry about all the things that have happened to you, the injustices that you had or received, you've turned it around and turned it into something that's really helpful. I think that's amazing.
We have choices, Jackie. We can
Exactly.
choose to, yeah, we can choose to be victims, or we can choose to be survivors. I worked for several years as a major crimes detective, and 5 of those years were spent involved as one of the lead investigators in the sexual assault and child abuse unit. So I dealt with victims of sexual assault, children, women, men, whatever. And I was really able to connect with them and understand them. And it helps to know the words to say or the silence to use, and just to recognize that you are stronger than your circumstances. And this is one of the things that I wanted to impart on the victims that I dealt with, to say that you don't have to be defined by your circumstances. You can define your circumstances. And I would give them a choice. After meeting with a victim of a brutal sexual assault, I knew that from our experience, they would have to move on and they wouldn't see me until the court date. But I would bring in 2 T-shirts, and one T-shirt said victim and the other T-shirt said survivor. And I would place them in front of the victim and say, you get to choose which one you would like to wear today. Now, you may not wear it physically, but take a look at the 2 words. On the one hand, if you remain a victim, your relationships will suffer, you will suffer, and this will carry on for several years, and it will change your life. On the other hand, if you choose survivor, you win. That person has no control over you. You have control over yourself. And this is what's so important for everyone to remember, that no matter what happens to us in our lives, there's one thing they can't take away from us: our ability to respond to what happens. Even in this world right now, a lot of people are reacting as opposed to responding. And I think that that's so important. So I became a student of this world of human behavior, and I've been able to help a few people.
It's a very powerful choice to give them. And hopefully the majority of them chose what I'll say is correctly. They chose correctly for them at the time, no matter what, but hopefully they chose to move forward. This leads in really well, I think, to a talk about retirement and growth, because growth never stops in my mind. And I know that a lot of people, as they reach retirement age, as they get phased out or step out of their work that they've been doing over the course of their life, they think that life is kind of over, that they've learned all they're going to learn, they don't need to grow anymore. And I don't think that's right. But what do you think? What does personal growth mean to you at this stage in life?
Well, pardon me. We don't stop growing unless we choose to stop growing. And I think it's a terribly irresponsible of anyone not to continue, even after retirement, to have purpose in their life, and to grow, to live. And I know that I read a little bit of your background too, Jackie, and you were wondering what to do after you retired, and you found this wonderful opportunity to interview people about retirement. I think that's amazing. Uh, I wasn't I wasn't retiring. What I did when I left the police department was I turned the page on a chapter of my life, a number of chapters of my life. My life is a great big book. And when it came to retirement, I thought, well, that's the end of this chapter. Let's turn the page. What's next? And at the time, what was next was an acting career, which I still have. And I was excited about that. But then life happened, a divorce happened, and a number of other things happened, and I had to find myself again, redevelop myself. But I never gave up on making this life mean something. I was asked about a year or two after I had retired, I was asked to attend a retirement panel for our police department. And there were 7 or so people who were invited. And I was the last to speak. I like to be the last to speak. I want to hear what everybody else has to say. And I listened to, there were a number of people that were getting ready to retire that attended this seminar. And we were the speakers, and there was something else. They were instructing people, when you're ready to retire, this is what's going to happen. Now let's listen to some of our retirees to see how retirement life is going for them. I'll tell you, Jackie, I was very surprised by about 5 of the 7 speakers before me who were saying, well, I get up and I go for coffee with my friends. It's a long day. And so many of them had no purpose. And it occurred to me that, boy, what a life. That kind of waking up and having nothing to do but go for coffee, to me, I just couldn't do it. And I think that it would probably result in my giving up on life and probably dying sooner than I would like to. And we hear of many people who do that, and it's because they haven't found something. Man, I want to find something. I have found a number of different things to do, and there's still so much for me to do. And every day is a new opportunity to make a great new change in my life or add something that I haven't tried before. And I've been very successful. So to anyone who has retired and you have nothing to do, find something to do, because make your life meaningful, contribute. Jackie's got this podcast going on. What's stopping you from starting a podcast? It's left up to your imagination and to your determination to make the very best of every day that you have, because we all know that time is guaranteed to no one. And we're here today, we could be gone tomorrow. But if you have purpose in your life, there's a good chance that you'll be here for many, many other tomorrows as well.
That's something I try to impress upon people through every episode, every conversation that I have, that your life is what you make of it. And the people who say, they talk to me, they laugh at me about beyond retirement. It's like, well, beyond retirement, that's death. It's like, well, I hope not. At some point, yes, we don't get out of life alive, but 20, 30 years from now, perhaps. And until then, I don't want to be the one that's just sitting there watching TV all day, every day, looking for coffee for for something to change. I think it's really important, like you said, use your imagination. I know a lot of people have trouble with that, because a lot of people have gone to their job day in and day out, and they've shut down the part of their brain that dreams, that was a kid that imagined it. And that's something I do with my coaching clients is, what did you do when you ran out the door when you were 10 years old after breakfast and you couldn't wait to get outside onto your bike? What did you do? You did something. You didn't just sit there and stare into space all day. And it's the same kind of thing.
Yeah, it's so true. We have to be childlike every once in a while and imagine, what is it that I can do next? What can I create next? During COVID, and I hate to bring COVID up, but it was something that we lived through, most of us anyways. But people were forced to do nothing. And many people during those 2 years decided that they were going to start to learn how to cook. They were going to create something. They were going to develop a talent that they had never developed before, because they found themselves forced to stay in this small little box and to occupy their time in a constructive way. People learned how to play guitar. People learned how to paint. People learned how to sing. And this is what we must carry on in our lives after retirement, is saying, what is it that I can do that will bring purpose and value to my life? You know, the cemetery is probably one of the richest places in the world, for a sad reason, because many people who end up there end up with their dreams that they never developed. There are songs that were never sung because people were afraid to take the risk. There were paintings that were never painted because people were afraid of being judged. There's a number of things that may prevent us from trying a new thing in our lives, develop a new talent. But I teach this to people, is that if you have something in your heart, don't die with it. If there's a book in you, write that book. Don't worry about judgment. Write the book. You never know where it's going to go. I didn't want to write my first book. People kept saying, Paul, you've got such an interesting background. Why don't you write a book? And I said, I don't want to write a book. I don't know how to write a book. I don't want to write a book. What am I going to write a book for? And they kept telling me and telling me and telling me. And I kept saying the same thing. I don't know. I don't know how to write a book. I don't want to write a book. And then one day I'm sitting after my retirement, and I was in between jobs, and I hear this whisper, write a book. And it was as though it was right in this room, write a book. And I'm talking to this whisper, and you might have a whisper too, talking to you. And this whisper's talking to me and saying, write a book. And I'm saying, I don't want to write a book. Like, look at me. I don't know how to write a book. And it kept pounding me. So the next day I went to a bookstore and I picked up a book on how to write a book. Read the first 40 pages of it, and I should have read the whole thing because the first 40 pages just said, start writing. And so I didn't want to read the rest of the book. I put it aside and I started writing. It took me 2 years to write that book. But the point of this story is that I said that if you have this whisper, you follow it because you never know where it will lead. Well, my first book was picked up by a major publishing house, HarperCollins. And I had self-published this book thinking it might reach 40 people, but I had accomplished something and I was happy with it. I was proud of what I had accomplished. And I never thought it would go anywhere other than, just a few friends and maybe somebody by accident would pick it up. But a major publishing company came across it and said, you know what, we want to publish this across the world. And I said, yes, you do. Of course you do. And my philosophy is that I got this plate of spaghetti. And the plate of spaghetti, one string is writing a book. The next string is acting. The next string is keynote speaking. There are all these strings involved in this plate of spaghetti. And I just absolutely love it. And I'll throw it against the wall. And I'll see what actually sticks. And I'll tell you, a lot stuck. The book writing stuck. Not only one book, 5 books. The keynote speaking stuck. The acting stuck. The coaching, life coaching, everything stuck. And what's in you, to your listeners, Jackie? What's in them? I don't want you dying with your dreams or your book inside you, your song that hasn't been sung, the poetry that hasn't been written. When you're on your deathbed, you don't want to be surrounded by the ghosts of missed opportunities who say, you know what, Paul, I whispered in your ear. Yeah, that was me in your room. And I whispered that you should write a book and you dismissed me. And now look, I'll show you what would happen, what would have happened if you would have written that book. All these thousands of people who found comfort in your book never would have been reached. So I don't want to be visited by the ghost of missed opportunities. I want to be visited by the ghost of rock and roll who say, dude, that was exciting. What else are we going to do next time we come around? And this is the attitude that everybody should have. And you might have noticed I'm actually dressed for my workout, and I'm going for a workout after this interview because I believe that exercise and fitness and eating well is really important, especially, throughout your life. But even more so as we age, because we all know that if we don't exercise, if you don't use it, you lose it. and get out there and start exercising too. That's a little bit of my advice.
I like the image of the ghosts of missed opportunities. I really like that.
Yes. Yeah,
And I think,
you think of these Christmas movies with all these ghosts around, and they come haunting the people, and I imagined that, and I thought, if I were on my deathbed, and these ghosts of my past or of my present or my future would come up, what would I want them saying to me? Is like, hey, dude, you did good. You did good.
exactly. One of the things that I think keeps people from taking that first step and trying things, like you said, is the fear of being judged. What if it's not good enough? That sort of thing. I think something that you might be able to help with is maybe a simple tool that people can use to change their mindset, to help them look at things a little bit differently, rebuild their self-confidence perhaps, so that they can change their direction, their focus, make a different choice.
I can certainly do that for everyone here. Start your day off first with gratitude. When you wake up, take 60 seconds to be grateful. And you might speak loud or just think about it in your head, but you have a roof over your head. That's something to be grateful for. You woke up, and that's something to be grateful for. A lot of people didn't. You have food, you have clothes, you have people who love you. There's a lot of reasons to be grateful. So that's the first thing, is just to recognize the gifts that you have been given. The other thing is to speak to yourself positively. And this is a number of mantras that I use, and I do this often. Today's going to be a great day. Today I can. It's what we tell ourselves. I can. I'm not going to worry about other people judging me. And the more that we talk to ourselves positively in the morning or any time during the day, but very important to start your day off with this self-development. Tell yourself, nothing is going to bother me today. And you might have a moment of weakness, but you got to remind yourself, hey, listen, I get to choose my response here. I don't have to react to the situation. I don't have to worry about people judging me, because guess what? All the successful people out there, all the actors, the A-list movie actors, the singers, the artists, they all went through something like me, like what I'm going through. They probably worried about other people judging them, but what made a difference in their life is that they didn't listen to that voice. They chose not to listen to the voice of destruction. We have two voices, like one's an angel on one shoulder, and one's a little demon. And when you're walking into a room of people, you might be a little bit intimidated. And this angel is saying, hey, guess what? It's going to be good. You're going to meet some new people. It's great. And this one's going, oh, no, it's not. Oh, no, it's not. They're going to look at you. They're going to look down at you. It's just like when you wrote that book. They're going to look down on you. And you have to decide which of these you're going to listen to. Are you going to listen to the demon over here, or are you going to listen to the angel? Start listening to the angel. Everybody takes risks. It's those who take the risks that succeed. And the more that you listen to the angel on your shoulder, the more that you listen to that positivity in the morning, the more you say, today, I am worth it. I am worthy. I am going to succeed. The more you listen to that, the brain starts to develop these channels, these different routes, and starts to believe the truths that you tell yourself. And that's the thing, is that if we tell ourselves a lie, for example, long enough, we start to believe it. We start to believe the lie. I'll never amount to anything. I'll never succeed. I'll never do this. We believe it because if you say it's so, it's so. But on the other hand, if you tell yourself, it's okay. If people don't like it, it's okay. I do. I'm the one who matters here. And I'm going to do the very best. I'm going to contribute to this world. I'm going to write that book. I'm going to sing that song. And I'll do everything I can to make it very good. So that's what I do. Excuse me.
That's so true. I was just actually speaking with my husband today about the same thing, about how what you say is kind of internalized immediately by your brain. It believes everything you tell it. So something simple like, oh, I can never remember names. If you keep saying that, you're never going to remember those names when you walk into the room. But if you say, I'm getting better at it, and then you say, I can remember the names, and you just keep doing it that way, it really changes things.
It takes a little bit more than that, though, Jackie. And I totally agree with you. Walking into that room and saying, I can remember those names, that is such a big step, because you're now programming yourself to pay attention to the name and to associate that individual to their name. So you're not going in the negative. I can never remember anybody's name, and not even trying to, oh yeah, I can remember the name. What's your name? John. How am I going to associate that in my mind? John, you use something to associate. You repeat the name 3 or 4 times in a conversation naturally, not John, 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 John. You just repeat it. But it takes not only saying something, it takes believing it and taking the steps to make it so. And I think that is extremely important. A lot of people do not take the steps. A lot of people say, well, I want to lose, I can never lose 10 pounds, or I got to lose 10 pounds, but I can't do it. And they talk themselves out of doing it because they find it's far too hard. But what I tell people and what I coach people, I ask them a simple question. How bad do you want it? Do you want it bad enough to keep working at it, to build that muscle, to take the steps it's going to require to achieve what it is that you want to achieve? I had to learn how to write a book. It's not like I became an instant author. I learned. I had to figure out how the chapters worked, write sentences that blended well together, a title for the book. These were all development stages. I had to work at it. And it's true of anything. But the question is, how bad do you want it? If you're retiring now, if you're retired and you have something inside you right now, how bad do you want it? Are you going to worry about what other people think? You shouldn't. You're stronger than that. We were all born equal. Everybody's got the same opportunities. It's what you do with life and your opportunities that makes the difference. And if you've got that book in you, if you've got that song in you, if you've got that painting in you, don't worry about what other people think. Everybody's got a dream, but only a few make those dreams come true. And if you're going to worry about what other people think, you may miss that opportunity. If I had worried about what people were going to think about my book, HarperCollins wouldn't have picked it up. They wouldn't have published it across the world. I wouldn't have written 4 other books. And those books opened doors for me that otherwise wouldn't have been opened. So every action that you take has a consequence, either good or bad. If you choose not to do anything, that's a bad consequence. If you choose to do something, it's a good one.
It always comes back to those 2 little choices. Either you go left or you go right. And a lot of people don't realize how much of a difference that one day's choice can make in the long run. Usually it's an easy choice that day. Either you get up and you start writing and you give it a shot, or you sit down and turn on Netflix and ignore it for another day. But what they don't see is the outcome later, what can happen if you just write that sentence every day. What a difference that makes in the long run, from day 1 where you made the choice to day whatever when HarperCollins has picked up your book. And it all comes one day, one choice. And those choices are easy if you want them to be.
They are. I'm not going to, and I tell this to my coaching clients as well, it's not always going to be easy. Some of the things are going to be tough. And it will develop in you if you continue to pursue it. It will develop a strength within you. It's like exercising your muscles. You go in, you do a hard workout, it hurts maybe a little bit, but the next day your muscle is stronger. You're stronger. You're going to be able to be more mobile. You're going to be able to do more things. And one day you're going to absolutely enjoy going to the gym, which I actually enjoy going to the gym. It hurts like a bugger sometimes, but when I'm done, I feel like, this is great. And this is what it takes. It takes an attitude of persistence and an attitude of development to make things work in your life. And a lot of people don't want it bad enough. A lot of people try to fake it until they make it. I say, no, listen, you want to lose that 10 pounds. You believe you've lost that 10 pounds, and you start to adapt the qualities that a fit person would do. So instead of wanting it, you say, I'm already a fit person. Now, what do I do today as a fit person? Well, I go to the gym. I eat well. I'm already there. I'm not faking it. I am a healthy person. Now, you might be 10 pounds or 20 pounds overweight, but start talking to yourself as though you are. What does a fit person do? A person who wants to develop themselves. Well, they go to the gym and they do this and they do that. And you believe that you are there, and you take the action that goes along with the dream that you have. And you are that person. Become that person.
I think you said it. The key is some people don't want it badly enough. And unfortunately, a lot of people, as they get to retirement, they kind of have the mindset, well, I've done enough. It's time to relax. And that kind of leads into, it's an awful lot of work to do something, to make a change, to keep going forward. How do you help people who have that sort of mindset with the idea that going forward is still the best option?
With that, and that's a very good question, we have to ask someone who has that, well, I'm just going to relax. We have to say, okay, I want you to envision your life of relaxation. And I'm not saying don't relax at all. I'm not saying not to take those holidays, or not to swing whatever, on the hammock or anything like that, or to have some leisure time. But if you were to do that forever, from here until the end of your days, how would that make you feel? You think it would make you feel good if you're not using your body, you're using your brain? I want you to understand that if you don't use these talents, they'll be gone. If you don't use your body, it will let you down. There are certain things that you must do in order to remain sharp. Take a look at your life. You led a great life. You did some great things. Look at how much you accomplished. But if you just put a stop to that accomplishment and decide that you are going to do nothing for the rest of your days, then your body and your mind, you're going to lose them eventually. It may not feel like it today or tomorrow, but in about a few years from now, you're going to say, oh my God, I wish I would have done something, because you want to keep sharp. You don't have to work every day, but do something that brings meaning to your life, that energizes you and that keeps you fit mentally and physically, because then you will reap the benefits. So just look at the two. By doing something, imagine what you can accomplish. Just remaining physically fit, mentally fit, having accomplished something, it's great. But on the other hand, if you don't, I'm afraid that in a few years from now, you're going to wake up, maybe sooner than later, and say, man, I missed out on so much, and my body hurts right now, and I can hardly get out of my chair. And, all those days of relaxing on the hammock and doing nothing, it has resulted in an empty life and a painful life. I'm much older than people think, and when I meet people my age, many people that I worked with, and I look at them and they look old, and some of them are very unfit. and they've just eaten too many burgers and drank too many beers and whatever, but they just don't look well and they don't feel well, and they tell me. There's a few that do because they've continued to sharpen their mind and sharpen their bodies. And I'm going to continue doing this until I'm 150. So and even then, if I can go for a few more years after 150, I'll keep doing it, because the opposite of not doing that is rather painful, and I see it in the faces and bodies of the people that I've worked with. Some of them.
That's right. A lot of people don't have the opportunity to grow old, and a lot of people who do grow old actually age not so gracefully. And I think the third choice is to age gracefully, keep working, keep doing what you can as long as you can, so that if by chance you were graced with the genes of longevity, you're not sitting there looking out at life for the last bit of your life instead of taking part in it. I think that's really important.
It is very important. And again, I like what you just said there, Jackie. We have a choice. We can grow old, or we can grow old well. And just adding that one, I'm going to grow old well. Just adding that word and getting that mental picture is that I will do what it takes. Like, I work out 4 or 5 times a week. I go for long walks. I feel great. And I don't feel my age. I don't look my age. I don't feel my age. I don't act my age. I have the body of about a 35-year-old or a 40-year-old, but still, I'm very active. Many, many, many years later, and I, it's a mentality. It's a choice. It's wanting something bad enough to make it happen, and this is the mentality that I encourage my clients and people when I'm giving keynotes. I encourage people to make the very best out of their days, their lives, because we just don't know how long we'll be here, and we should be here the best the best us that we can be, and that takes work. It doesn't take retiring and saying, well, now I'm going to relax. I worked enough. I'm going to just relax. Well, if you're going to do that, there's a consequence to that. Just know it. The pain of regret. Wow, that's a big one. The pain of purpose and of success is far less than the pain of regret. If you take a look at the two of them, the pain of regret is up here, man. It is just right up here. And the pain of doing something, yeah, there's a little bit of pain in it. But boy, just take a look at the difference. I can't move anymore. I forget things. I haven't developed anything. Here, man, this is going to be a great day. Look at what I've accomplished. This is good. Oh, hurts a little bit. It's okay. I'm going to develop that strength.
I think that's a good picture to kind of end with. Where can listeners find out more about you or connect with you if they'd like to?
Well, that's pretty easy. If you run my name on AI or Google, Paul Nadeau or J. Paul Nadeau, you'll find out a lot about me, as you did. I think, Jackie, you probably did that in your research, I could tell. And thank you very much for that great introduction once again, and for this wonderful show, Jackie. What you're doing for people, you're giving them hope, and you're giving them vision, and that's important. So if you want to reach me, I have a website, J. Paul Nadeau, and that's my website, .com. And I'm easy to find. I'm surprised at how many things are out there about me, but I did it one day. I checked my name and I thought, wow, okay. So that's how you get a hold of me. But once again, Jackie, thank you very much for having me on your show and for doing the incredible work that you're doing. And to all your listeners, I truly would like you to leave this episode with a couple of thoughts. You get to decide how your life is going to unfold. You get to write your book, your next page. And if your page is empty, then your book will be empty at the end of your life. And you will be visited by the ghost of missed opportunities. They'll surround your bedside and they'll haunt you and say, look what you could have done. And you're going to regret it. So for your next chapter, start writing something beautiful. Start taking that action and want it bad enough. So when you do end up on your deathbed, the ghosts of rock and roll will surround you and say, that was amazing. That was amazing. You did great. So those are a couple of thoughts I'd like to leave your listeners. And if you want to reach out to me, I'm easy to find. So thanks very much, Jackie.
Thanks, Paul. It was great having you. I'm really glad you came.
And that's it for this episode of Beyond Retirement. Thank you so much for hanging out with me. I hope you enjoyed it. Are you ready to start rocking your retirement? Head on over to www.beyondretirement.ca/rocking it and sign up to plan out your own roadmap for retirement. Don't wait till it's too late.